Hello everyone and welcome to the Bobcat world. Today we will present our telescopic handler TL3870HF. This model is specifically designed for agricultural applications. The name of the product is very simple. TL for telescopic loader. The 38 corresponds to its maximum lifting capacity, 3.8 tons. As for the 70, it is the maximum lifting height of 7 meters. HF stands for high flow. Model with a high hydraulic flow for better productivity. The Agri 3-star you can see there is in high-end finish. A complete package, particularly appreciated in the agricultural world. Our telescopic handlers are 4-wheel drive machines for optimal traction and 4-wheel steering for ideal maneuverability.
Which axle are used?
So, on this machine we use Dana and Spicer axle. Those axles are waterproof and designed for really intensive off-road applications. The front axle is fitted, as standard, with a limited slip differential and submerged disc brakes. Each of the two axles, front axle and rear axle, has its own wheel alignment sensors. This allows us to manage our famous 3 steering modes that we will see later. The hydrostatic transmission, used here, actually benefits from the 3 P's. The P of power, precision, and progressiveness. The maximum speed of this machine is 40 kilometers per hour or 45 miles per hour. We have an hydrostatic transmission system named AutoShift and a torque management system. So, depending on the effort that will be required, the telehandler will automatically manage the slow to fast or fast to slow speed shifting. This is something completely transparent for the operator.
This is really useful when you are emptying a barn and loading the spreaders. It is a real gain of productivity.
Our chassis is a monocoque box frame, specially designed for intensive use. The toolbox, that can be seen here at the front, is one of the little extras of the Agri 3-stars configuration. The 2 cylinders that can be seen over there in parallel, the larger cylinder is the lifting cylinder. The cylinder next to it in parallel is the compensation cylinder. It is the cylinder that will allow us, when lifting or lowering the arm, to keep the forks always at the horizontal level. The small carboy with the blue cap we can see on the lift cylinder is actually the boom suspension option. The front tie-down points on this frame, you can see, there and there, included in the standard configuration, will allow you to tie down the machine for transport.
What about the lower part?
Well, everything is protected under the machine. There is no brake line, no hydraulic hoses, no mechanical elements such as the cardan shaft. Everything is protected by an 8 mm thick structural plate. Both our arms and our boom are made of high elastic limit steel, combined with large sections for each of these 2 components. This gives us great rigidity in order to absorb all the stresses generated by all the movements of the arm. The telescoping cylinder and all the components related to this cylinder are positioned inside the arm, 100% protected. We have 8 large pads on the arm and 8 large pads on the boom to optimize the guidance of the telescoping movement.
And on this arm, do we have end-of-movement shock absorbers?
Absolutely. We have 3 end-of-movement shock absorbers on this arm. The first one is at the maximum lifting angle. The second one is at the minimum lowering angle. And the third shock absorber is at the end of the retraction movement of the boom.
So this prevents all end-of-movement shocks?
Exactly. For some people, this boom end seems oversized. But in fact it is to make the best use of the great breakout forces which are due to 2 components. The first one is our patented power lift system. That means it will accumulate the push forces of the lift cylinder and of the compensation cylinders in synergy with the tilt cylinder, who has ideal angle position. Also, the kinematics of the tilt cylinder allows very high amplitude angles.
Is this cylinder fully protected?
So, yes, indeed it is, first totally protected, but also centered. It is centered in relation with the arm and in relation with the coupler. Our quick-attach coupler is a device with 4 fixing points, which allows a powerful holding of the attachments. This coupler is hydraulically lockable and unlockable from the cabin, option included in the Agri 3 stars configuration. This hydraulic locking system is something simple, safe, and above all very fast for the operator.
Can we have other types of couplers?
Yes, 2 other coupler are also available, 2 coupler that are used by 2 other telescopic handlers manufacturers. The auxiliary hydraulic line is, of course, part of the standard configuration. This line is double-acting with an integrated drain. This monoblock assembly, as we can see it here, is totally protected, and it is equipped with a depressurization system for the hydraulic connections. What I mean is, I do not need any effort when I want to unhook my attachments.
What is the auxiliary flow available for my attachments?
So this model is an HF model, so high flow. So on this auxiliary line, I will be able to reach a maximum flow rate of 150 liters per minute. This maximum flow, I can manage it, I can calibrate it. It's called auxiliary flow management, we'll see that a little bit later. And I'll be able to calibrate it to manage my movements here.
Is there an electrical outlet?
So, yes, the electrical outlet is here. It is a 7-pin socket called ACD. In fact, it will allow us to control different movements, if the hydraulic attachment we have at the front requires 2, 3 or 4 movements. As we can see here, the fixation position of the arm is ideal. So, even on the road position, as it is here, with an attachment around 40 centimeters up the ground, we keep a very good visibility from the cabin on the gabarit of the machine, the front right wheel, and as well as on the entire right side of the machine.
On this model, the maximum lifting height is 7 meters under the forks, or about 6.3 meters bucket dumped?
Absolutely, it is something important that I will highlight here. Thanks to the rear fixation of our arm and its ideal position, we have at maximum lifting height, something that is very important, the front reach. This is the distance between my front tire and the blade of my dumped bucket. So I am able to empty my bucket in a trailer or in a hopper, while keeping a safe distance and not being too close of any obstacle.
Olivier, what are the sizes of those tires?
So these tires are 460 to 70 by 24. And in fact that gives us the ideal combination of traction, maximum load stability, ground clearance, travel speed, and driving comfort. The other point is the long wheelbase that we have here, 2.87 meters, is a major advantage for the road comfort, and also in its front-rear weight distribution.
Now we arrive at the engine compartment.
So, for safety purpose, the use of the ignition key is necessary to open the engine hood. So now we have full access to this engine, our famous Bobcat 3.4 liters engine, which develops 97 kilowatts or 130 horsepower. At the end of this turbo-compressed engine, we will find our hydrostatic pump, and at the end of the hydrostatic pump, our attachment pump. Therefore the high-flow pump, which has an overall flow rate of 190 liters per minute, with 255 bars of pressure. Out of these 190 liters per minute, a maximum of 150 can be dedicated to the use of the attachment.
And why such an high flow?
So, first of all, this high flow rate allows us short cycle times when loading, so a better productivity. And secondly, for handling applications, we are able to operate the machine at a lower engine speed, while keeping enough flow for arm and boom movements. This lower engine RPM will of course reduce the fuel consumption and lower the operating costs for the user of this Bobcat telescopic handler.
Is that the AdBlue tank up front?
So yes, in blue there with the blue cap. It is our AdBlue tank with a capacity of 12 liters. And these 12 liters of capacity are sufficient to have a great working autonomy. Our cooling system can be summarized in 3 points. First, it's a monoblock radiator where we have three different units: water, air and oil. Above this block, a small radiator dedicated to fuel. The radiator here in black is dedicated to the air conditioning. This air conditioning is included in the Agri 3 stars configuration. The second point is the great insulation between the two compartments sides with extremely good seals between the cold compartment and the hot compartment. There is no air recirculation from one side to the other. The third point is the airflow. So we have below the radiator an hydraulic operated fan, which will suck fresh air from the top front of the bonnet to go through the radiator's fins and come out on the rear top of the machine. This airflow routing is avoiding dust, especially when used, for example, in stalls. This fan is equipped with an inverter, also part of the Agri 3 stars configuration, to be able to unclog the radiator core and the grill. This declogging operation can be controlled either manually from the cabin or set up automatically as the operator wishes.
What about the maintenance?
Well, we saw that we have a total access to all the maintenance points, as you can see, for a weekly or daily maintenance. As you can see, for example, the air filter here. I can directly remove and unclog the first cartridge. And you can see here, there is a second cartridge, which is a standard on our machine.
Do the rear tires pass in the tracks of the front tires?
Affirmative, and as they pass in the tracks of the front tires, this optimizes the traction efforts. The steering angle that we have here also allows the entire rear of the machine to pass in the inner radius of the tire. Whether it is the counterweight or the rear structure, everything is protected inside the turning radius of the rear tire.
But on a telescopic, the right rear wheel is usually the least visible wheel?
So, yes and no. In fact, our patented cabin has an asymmetric window frame. This is a major asset in the comfort and safety aspect of our machine.
Is this something unique in the world of telehandlers?
Absolutely. This allows a wide viewing angle of 120 degrees without any vision obstacle for the operator. A major reduction of the blind spots. The best visibility on the market. This is something very important and essential when you have to work in tight places. At the rear of the machine, a rotating towing hook, equipped with a mirror to help precise hitching operations. LED work light as standard. Here is the license plate holder, with the lightning of the license plate, the trailer light socket, the two braking hydraulic lines for the trailer, and here, the ABS socket. If you have to transport this vehicle on a low-bed truck, we have here the two rear tie-down points. Any tie-down on the rear axle is totally prohibited, as there is a big risk to damage the load control device sensors. Another advantage of the hydrostatic transmission is the extremely smooth transfer of power and torque to the wheels. There is in fact no risk of wheel slip, loss of traction or premature wear of the tires.
What can be said about the fuel tank?
We will limit ourselves to 5 points. The first point is its material, polypropylene, so it avoids any risk of condensation or corrosion inside. The second point is its capacity of 138 liters, so it gives the machine great working autonomy. The third point is its extremely low position compared to the machine, so it lowers the center of gravity of the machine. The fourth point is the correct positioning of the filling cap, handy when you have to fill it on site. And the fifth point is the steel protection sheet below, we mentioned already earlier. This steel sheet will protect 100% of the fuel tank.
We now arrive at the cabin.
Absolutely. Or finally for some. So we have a very easy and safe access to the cabin. A wide opening and clearance for the door. A wide entrance inside the cabin. Only one step to climb inside. With an intuitive position of the security handles. Here is the operation and maintenance manual for your Bobcat telehandler. Inside, you will find all the instructions concerning the use and maintenance of your telehandler safely. Read it carefully before starting your machine. We are at the end of the first part of this presentation. I hope that the technological choices and the advantages specific to this TL3870HF in its Agri 3 stars configuration have satisfied you. Thank you for your time, and see you very soon for another walkaround or another product presentation of the Bobcat range.